Hey guys, RanterInShades here, exercise my first human rights vlog style. Now, if there's anything that comes from metal elitists' mouths, or keyboards, that I find to be just as insulting as telling someone to kill themselves because of their music taste, regardless of whether they're serious or not, it's when they say this. Stick to the music you actually like. Yeah, don't be open-minded and try checking out other music outside of your comfort zone. Stick to what you actually like. That's totally not contradicting what I always thought was supposed to be the end result of your mission, right? I mean, I thought you wanted these people with subjectively shit taste to listen to real metal or good music. Now you're telling them not to? Like, what do you want? Do you want metalcore fans to look into good music and possibly even shift their taste since you believe metalcore's a phase anyway? Or do you not want them to mix with the quote-unquote real fans? Because obviously they can't be just as real of fans as you. That's just impossible. They listen to metalcore, so that clearly destroys their credibility as metal fans, or even music listeners, because we need credibility now to enjoy music. They're a lost cause, so they can't go anywhere near your music, which, let me talk about that for a second. This isn't your music. You don't own it. Music is supposed to be for everyone. Everyone should have the ability to listen to any kind of music and decide for themselves if they like it or not. You don't dictate who listens to what. So if someone who's a fan of, let's say, Of Mice and Men wants to explore Destruction's catalog and potentially other 80s thrash bands, they should be able to. Will they like it? Are they gonna stop listening to Of Mice and Men and other related bands? That's up for the people to decide. I personally wouldn't stop listening to a band because I like something else better, but the point is, everyone has the ability to think for themselves regarding what they think of music that's out in the public domain for everyone. When bands release music, I would think they'd want to reach as many people as they can, regardless of how true of a fan they are. I mean, it's more money for the band, more money that helps fund activity, and their audience is growing. I think that's a win-win for both parties. But no, this is your music. You own it, and nobody you deem unworthy should be allowed to enjoy it. Like I said, pick a side. You always say that metalcore fans are closed-minded and need to open their minds to music they would otherwise refer to as dad rock. But when you say shit like stick to music you actually like, you're basically telling them to keep being closed-minded. It's really hypocritical. Like, are they really that much of lost causes just because they like metalcore? Totally not overreacting there, are we? And by the way, with the whole thing about modern metal fans referring to other music as dad rock, like a person wearing a shirt of a band they know nothing about, that's something I tend to think very rarely happens. It's an obvious anecdote on your part, because I've never heard anyone say anything like that about old school metal. In fact, I've only ever heard the term used to describe post-grunge bands, like Nickelback, Theory of a Dead Man, Hinder, Finger 11, Three Doors Down, and other such bands. And it's a dumb term, by the way. But anyway, be grateful that modern metal fans are actually checking out music you like. Isn't more people discovering good music supposed to be a good thing? Why would you not want to see a band's audience grow? Like I said in the word analysis about selling out, I love it when people discover music I like, or if I have a hand in influencing people to look into a band. That's something I love about being a content creator with a decent-sized following and some level of influence. It could be worse. Modern metal fans could just stick to listening to the music they actually like, quote unquote, and you know what might eventually happen? They'll get burnt out listening to the same shit over and over and over. You know how I know? Because that's exactly what happened to me during a time in high school when I listened to nothing but glam metal. Which is not to say that I stopped liking glam, I obviously still like it, but at the time I got bored listening to the same stuff and wanted to listen to something else. Even at the time, my taste was very varied, so I had a good bit to choose from for other things to listen to. And I know this is anecdotal when I made that criticism about the dad rock thing being anecdotal, but this is something that tends to happen when you do something or listen to or watch the same stuff all the time. You get burnt out and you get bored. And on the topic of having a varied taste, that's the other problem I have with the stick to what you actually like argument. How do you know that this other music isn't something that they actually like? Heaven forbid someone listens to a variety of music, like I do. Again, how is this a bad thing? What is so horrible about having a varied musical taste? If anything, it shows that the person actually loves music and isn't just a fan of one general style or isn't just trying to be part of a group, which is sort of part of the reason I don't call myself a metalhead. I doubt that when a person has a varied taste, they don't have a type of music that's their main go-to and they like everything equally. I don't think that's the message they're trying to convey. That's certainly not the message I'm trying to convey. The music I tend to listen to on a pretty consistent basis these days days is mostly progressive metal, progressive rock, pop punk, alternative metal, and instrumental guitars. Doesn't mean that that's all I listen to and that I never listen to anything else. My Music I Like video pretty much debunks that idea. And by the way, me mentioning how varied my taste is isn't me trying to come on here and brag, it's to make the following point. Let's go back to the example of the Of Mice and Men fan listening to Destruction. How do you know that their taste isn't varied and that they can't possibly like both metalcore and thrash metal? Is it really impossible to like both? The answer? No. Do you really think someone would outright lie about their music taste? Maybe I'm just too much of a realist and an optimist, but I doubt anyone would go as far as to lie about their own taste. Not denying that it could happen, but I doubt it's common. I think most people are honest about their taste, and if someone is going to say that they like both alt metal and power metal, who am I to question them? The point is, you don't know the person inside and out, so you have no right to assume that someone doesn't really like a certain kind of music, especially when your only evidence is, they like this music that I find to be shitty poser metal. You need super concrete and hardcore evidence if you're going to accuse someone of lying, but do you have that evidence? No. So you're making a baseless assumption. If someone likes alt metal and power metal like I was saying before, and alt metal is their main go-to, that doesn't invalidate their liking power metal or other styles of music. It doesn't mean that they don't really like other music and they're just putting on a facade so their taste looks more varied. They like both. It's possible to like both. Deal with it. Another thing, and this is something I've dealt with on videos I've made that involve talking about classic rock. Just because I find something to be overrated doesn't mean I think it's shit. I just don't like classic rock and classic metal being put on a pedestal just because it's older, which is something just about every fan of the music does. And as a result of that, I and others find some of the bands to be overrated. But am I bashing the bands? No. If I was, you'd be able to tell. But am I putting on some facade and posing as a fan to get the approval of random people on the internet? No. I really could care less, honestly. But I'd rather not trap myself in a bubble, and I'd also rather be honest, both with myself and with my viewers, about my taste and what I think of music like this. It doesn't mean I don't really like the music and that I need to just stick to what I like. When I talk about liking a variety of music, I am being honest. I'm not pretending to be something I'm not, and the same applies to other like-minded people. So when you say stick to the music you actually like, I already do! This doesn't mean one should never open their mind to other music. I feel that if you're not willing to do that, then you don't really appreciate music. Why else would I have tried to get into rappers like Danny Brown, Vince Staples, and Chance the Rapper? Because a number of people I know say they're great. Because I wanted to see what I thought of their music. I like a decent amount of rap, but I have a hard time keeping up with that scene, so I figured I'd check out some cats that were getting a lot of buzz so that I could potentially be, for lack of a better term, up to date with my taste in rap. Or at the very least, see if I like them any more or less than the Young Money bullshit. Ultimately, I found that they're not really my thing, it's not really the kind of rap I can get into, but at least I gave them a shot. Again, this is just me being honest with myself and honest with my taste. One last thing, why should anyone listen to you making the argument in the first place anyway? Like people would let some random commenter on YouTube tell them what to do. We know how to think for ourselves. We'll listen to whatever we want and there's nothing you can do about it. And I know what you're probably gonna say about here.
Well, how can you tell people what to do, but I can't?
I never said I could. I'm not speaking for 3,000 people, nor am I claiming to, nor is my aim even to. I like to encourage thinking for yourself, and I like to believe I have an audience that knows how to do that. But I'm speaking for myself here. That's what this channel's all about. So now's not a good time to be pulling the hypocrite card. Fuck this condescending bullshit argument.
Your taste is shit. You should be listening to this. But no, don't. Stick to what you actually like, because I know you don't really like this, and you're just being a poser.
Fuck off. I'm Shades, and I'll see you next time.